Welcome back to Crypto Front. This is the front line where we are fighting together side by side for financial freedom. Indeed, it has been a fight, and I know that most people are very much tired for what they are seeing with the JASMY price. That I receive messages almost each and every single day of people asking me whether it's just time to, call it quits here on JASMY, probably move to a new asset altogether. But the challenge that you have with the market right now is just that the market moves in tandem, and probably 99% of the things are just moving as much as JASMY is doing at this point. So I just want to show you what I figured out immediate short term here for JASMY, and it's a little bit optimistic. Obviously, you never almost hear me go ahead and say something that is pessimistic here for JASMY, just because I still have the hope of the JASMY price at leading towards the upside in the immediate short term right there. Right, first of all, here on the daily time frame, we realize that ever since the drop that we began back in December, the bears have actually begun losing momentum here. As you can see, the first drop here was right around like a 60%, and you can see the following one was right around a 50%. The third one here right around a 34%, meaning that we are making these higher lows as we continue progressing towards the upside. And of course, we are also hitting the resistance like 1, 2, 3, and here we're going to be trying for the fourth time, right? So the principle here is that the more you hit on a support level or a resistance level for that matter, that is actually the more likely you're going to be able to break it. And I'm holding my hopes very high here for JASMY. So there is a structure that I talk about, on the channel time and again, which is something like a waterfall crash, where you crash violently as you saw right there, then you find yourself, up one more time and then try to work yourself towards the upside. A V-shaped recovery if you want to be, squeezing it, and you see this kind of thing a lot in things like the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones Industrial Average. I mean, basically global financial markets, but we are seeing pretty much almost the same thing happen here for JASMY. So I think this is eventually what is going to be happening, and I showed you already just a few moments ago that the bears are actually losing momentum. But of course, I want to show you this chart here for JASMY from Coinbase, which actually is much more enlightening in terms of where we are sitting here for JASMY, because I think this is a very strong support dating as far back as March 2024. You can see that that was support here. This was also support. Then of course, when you broke down, it was rejection, and yeah, you can see it's an important level. We can also look at it from a Fibonacci retracement perspective and realize that if we take a reference of this low until the top here, we're currently sitting on the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level, which is not a coincidence. Actually, this has been an area which prices have been supported time and again in terms of like the crypto market, right? So I mean, the idea here basically is that we are having somewhat of a support level there. Then of course, if we take a look at the other indicators like the RSI or stuff like that, also we see that there appears to be somewhat of horizontal support right there. It may not be as clear cut here on the daily time frame, but if you go lower to something like the 4-hourly time frame, you realize that there has also been a level of support right around the 30 mark right there. So this in most cases is enough, especially if you're in a bullish position. You don't need to go all the way down to like the negative 30 here on the RSI. So I think for now we're looking good. Once again, that may be enough to push JASMY up one more time. What we need to do right now, immediate short term, is to break like 2.2 cents. Then I think we can easily start the journey toward 9 cents. I was talking about it in my previous post here on X. So I mean, looking at the JASMY price at like this probably is not enough. We need much more confluence from the rest of the market, right? And of course, we also want to be looking at what the global financial markets are doing, because JASMY never exists in a bubble, right? But before we continue, let me just remind you of the campaign that we have with Bitunix, the exchange. You can go ahead and claim up to $1,000 just for using the exchange. All you have to do initially is to register with the exchange and get your $10 USDT bonus right there. Then of course, once you start depositing, you get rewarded for that as well. I mean, just as a quick example here, if you deposit like $2,000, you get to receive like 500 USDT as a bonus, and you can trade that and even make much more money on that. Obviously, if you continue using the exchange, you get rewarded as well. And the more trading volume that you have, you can win up to $500 as well. So all in all, it's $1,000 that is sitting there to be grabbed. I've put the link in the description. You can see it very much easily. Then please make sure that you use the referral code UGYY, because as you can see, this is a Crypto Front specific event. So the only way they can know that you're coming from Crypto Front is if you use the referral code UGYY right there. I was saying earlier on that JASMY pretty much follows global liquidity, and one quick example that everybody else can relate to here is the price action of Ethereum. And what we see with Ethereum right now is Ethereum is pretty much in all-time highs and looking to extend its gains to maybe something like 8,000, 11,000, probably even $17,000. But in this moment, I think you can also be expecting JASMY to be doing just well, because what has happened in the past is that there is always a positive correlation between JASMY and Ethereum. You can see JASMY in blue and obviously Ethereum with the other candles, and you can see that these things pretty much basically move in tandem. And I think that once we start stretching, because right now there's a lot of fear, uncertainty and doubt in investors' minds, but once Ethereum starts clearing those highs, maybe 5,000, 5,000, 6,000, whatever the case may be, I think that we're going to be seeing JASMY react to that in a positive way. But that's not only Ethereum that we are looking at. Let's take a look at, for example, the total market cap of altcoins which are outside of Ethereum, Bitcoin. You see that we have formed a cup and handle formation there, which is a bullish structure in any case. But what you also notice is that JASMY pretty much moves along with those things. And even in this moment here, what we are looking for is just when this market goes on to set a new all-time high, we're going to be seeing JASMY pretty much reacting. So, I mean, it's really a make it or break it moment here for JASMY as well as the rest of the market, because, I mean, you can also give the argument that, this is a resistance and you're going to be rejected very much strongly here, which also means, I'm sorry, JASMY, it's going to be good nighttime and nobody makes money, right? But I think most likely thing to do here is that this market goes on to extend and push its way towards the upside once again. So this is how we are relating to what the rest of the market is doing. But I mean, we can also take a look at things which are outside of crypto as well. We could go here with something like the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and you see that when the Dow Jones is going towards the downside, we also see JASMY pretty much doing the same thing. When it goes sideways, JASMY just like that also goes sideways. When it rises, JASMY is rising as well. So there is some kind of correlation that also happens right there. The good thing at this point is that this thing is in all-time highs. Yeah, maybe just back testing the previous all-time high before it continues going up once again. And keeping in mind what has been happening in the past, it's also very much logical to expect JASMY to go ahead and have a catch-up trade right there. So I mean, there are a lot of things that we are waiting on. We have to wait a little bit, I think at least until Tuesday when the US stock market opens, and we'll also see how the tariff situation will change, because I think there was a ruling yesterday that most of the tariffs were illegal. I don't know how that works, but we'll obviously get a reaction from the market. But one way or the other, I think that it's going to be just a moment of waiting a little bit here for JASMY to go ahead and do its own thing, because yeah, I don't expect it to just go ahead and crumble towards the downside like that. We haven't done much so far in this bull run in terms of like the whole altcoins. We didn't even take a look at the dominance chart, for example, which also is screaming bullish, but we'll do that in a different video altogether. I want to thank you so much for sticking out until the very end of this video. If you could, please delicately tap the like button, share the video with your friends and family. If you're new to the channel and you want to be seeing more of this JASMY content, please subscribe to the channel, and then I'll see you on the next one. Take good care of yourselves. Bye bye.